Welcome to D&D Backstory. This is the origin of Eocsni Ironmaw, the mountain dwarf zealot barbarian.
Come on, dude. This is stupid. We should leave before you get hurt.
Yeah, Eocsni. This thing isn't a baby anything. It's an unfeeling monster.
At this last comment, a young dwarvish boy of about 11 abruptly extricates his torso from the pit he's been rooting around in. Not bothering to brush the dirt from his chest and face, he turns and levels a withering glare at the second of his two companions.
Come on, guys. Didn't people used to say the same kind of things about Durgar?
Thulril swallows and nods slowly, a vibrant lavender flush rising in his pale gray cheeks.
Then why don't you and Brandbeck just shut the hell up and hold my legs? I can almost reach the little guy.
Without waiting for a response, the young mountain dwarf lunges back into the pit, leaving his friends to dive forward and belatedly catch hold of his ankles.
It's okay, little guy. Come on out. We're gonna get you all cleaned up and fed, bandage you up, get you somewhere nice and warm. Oh, that's all right. I'm fine, boy. You just hold on like that. All right, guys, pull me up.
And as Thulril and Brandbeck heave backwards to extract their friend, he emerges grinning, one arm curled protectively around a small, battered warg pup, seemingly oblivious to the fangs shredding into his fingers of his left hand.
It's not his fault he doesn't know any better. He just needs someone to help show him a better way to do things. Isn't that right, Bruno?
Leaving his friends shaking their heads in bewilderment, Eocsni of Clan Niilson strides back off in the direction of their village, cooing baby talk at the canine monstrosity currently turning his fingers into ribbons. This tendency to expose himself to harm in the interest of the helpless would remain a theme throughout the life of this young dwarf. The child of a master stoneworker and an accomplished wizard, Eocsni spent much of his young life attempting to break out of the shadows cast by his parents and older siblings. It was never that the dwarf boy lacked virtues. To the contrary, he was regarded by his peers and educators alike as being as intelligent, well-spoken, and formidable at arms. Rather, the stigma of being Lin's son or Gergen's brother chafed upon the lad and drove him to break new ground and explore paths that those in his family had never taken. While his older siblings were off practicing magic or studying tactics, Eocsni would more often than not be found exploring the subterranean caverns around the town of Deephelm, seeking out lost treasures and strange structures, or else looking for people and creatures who had fallen victim to the perils lurking on the border of the Underdark, testing his might against the mysteries in the depths. The boy was impulsive and quick to anger, but as he developed into a young dwarven man, he learned well how to channel the anger towards tasks and foes deserving of it, and to keep himself from directing it at those who did not. And with Bruno, the runt warg, as his constant companion, he quickly developed a reputation for handling more trouble than he had any right to.
Stay inside, Eocsni.
Fuck you, Gergen. We can fight. I've got most of my armor finished. I've sharpened Pa's old axe. And Bruno's gotten really good at following my commands. Just watch.
You're 19, barely even a mid-ager. Ma and Pa are already out there. I got a sending from Vroska saying she'll be teleporting in as soon as she can drop a circle. We have this handled, and we need you here to keep the little ones safe.
If you're worried about me staying behind to protect the kids, then clearly you need everyone you can get out there.
I said no, Eocsni. Stay here.
Gergen, wait, Gergen!
Gergen strides from the great hall, slamming the door behind him. Furious, Eocsni snarls and charges after his brother, his snarls turning to howled obscenities as he realizes that Gergen has secured the door from the outside.
Ugh! Damn it!
Slamming his spiked gauntlet into the door in frustration, he finally turns and notices Bruno, standing at his side with his teeth bared and hackles raised. Kneeling, Eocsni quickly soothes his friend.
No, it's okay, boy. It's just Gergen being an ass. He's not wrong, I'm just frustrated.
Looking back over his shoulder, he finally remembers the rest of his company, his friends Thulril and Brandbeck, 8 dwarven elders and some 30 dwarven youths, ranging from children almost to as old as Eocsni to infants like his youngest sister, Lamisa.
Hey, sorry about that, kids. You know how sometimes us battle ragers can get grumpy. Hey, who wants to see Bruno here do some tricks, huh?
Several hours pass without incident. Eocsni and Bruno find success in keeping the children entertained, performing tricks, reciting stories of heroic dwarves of days past, and teaching them how to tap out signal drum cadences between the spines of his spiked armor. Eventually, though, nerves set in despite the best efforts of the Midagers and the town's elders, and the cavern falls into a tense silence. The torches are burning low in their sconces, and most of the cavern has dozed off when Bruno suddenly nudges Eocsni awake, growling softly and staring towards one of the hidden side passages leading off to the Great Hall. Coming swiftly to his feet, Eocsni quietly catches the attention of one of the elderly caretakers, motioning him to gather the children and take them over towards the massive oak and stone door. Thulril and Brandback, shaking nervously, take up hand axes and picks and position themselves in front of the children and elders. Hefting his father's old great axe, Eocsni softly calls Bruno to readiness and stands, bracing himself and glowering in the direction of the concealed doorway. A moment passes. Another. And then, with a mighty rumble and a plume of dust, the hidden panel in the wall bursts open, and a small horde of goblin raiders tumbles out, raising their armaments and chuckling as they assess their opposition. Eocsni stands steady and motionless before calling out to the raiders in their own language.
You fucking cowards! You want to come in here and pillage from my people? Bunch of mighty conquerors here to test their might against what? A bunch of kids? Leave now, or die.
The goblin laughs heartily at this, and one raises his short bow in the direction of the group of children and knocks an arrow.
You gonna stop us, Dwarfling? You don't even have whiskers on your chin, you beardless shit! Shut up and maybe we'll be quick about it.
Time seems to slow around Eocsni, the sounds of the cavern around him fading against the pounding drum of his pulse in his ears. No one would bring harm to the innocents around him, not while he and Bruno had breath left in their bodies. Not today, not ever. He tosses his head back and shrieks, a terrifying feral exclamation that mingles hauntingly with Bruno's answering howl, and charges into the band of raiders. The last thing he registers as his axe severing the arm of the goblin who had threatened the children. And then all his perception is lost as he commits fully to the blinding red haze of his rage.
Hey, buddy, you awake?
Eocsni blinks, slowly, and groans as pain lances through his head and face. Looking about ponderously, he takes in his surroundings. He's lying in a comfortable bed in a cool, well-lit cavern with his older siblings and his best friends staring down at him, concern and relief playing across their faces. He feels a weight as his feet shift and Bruno rouses himself from a doze, turning with an almost comical delicacy before setting on to his hindquarters and staring down at his companion's face, whimpering softly.
Shh. Don't try to talk, Eocsni.
He hears his sister Vraska say, pulling the hem of her ornate robes out of Thurl's nervously clutching hands.
You fell unconscious with your teeth locked in a goblin's throat. They had to break your jaw to separate you.
Eocsni simply groans again, reaching up with one hand to feel at the massive bandages and iron rods enveloping the lower half of his face while scratching Bruno's ears comfortingly with the other.
That was incredible, Eocsni. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Thulril begins to gush, grinning from ear to ear. Brandback, in contrast, looks to be incapable of speech, his skin nearly the same shade of pale gray as his Duragar companion.
Yeah, little brother. You really stepped up to the plate. We're really proud of you.
Gergen gently ruffles his brother's hair, grinning softly.
By all accounts, you gave those goblins a lesson for the ages. Not that many of them lived to pass on the tale.
How did you do it? That glowy thing on your armor spikes in your axe.
Eocsni raises his eyebrow nearly to his hairline in silent query to his more magically inclined sister.
Yeah, apparently you summoned up some sort of burning light out there? Definitely not like the kind of things Ma and I can do, that's for sure. Old Man Henderson swears you were touched by Moradin or Hanseth. Any chance you turned religious on us, baby brother?
Eocsni shakes his head, groans again, and gestures impatiently for parchment and pen. Scribbling rapidly, he holds up his response for his visitors to read. No, don't know what happened. I just remember thinking I had to keep the kids safe, then I woke up here. He pauses, then withdraws the parchment to add another few lines. If it was God stuff, I didn't ask for it. Fuck the gods.
Well, whatever it was pretty incredible. And so were you and Bruno. You might be laid up here for a while as your jaw heals, but after that, Vroska and I each reached out to some of our contacts, and let's just say that whenever you decide you're ready to see more of the world, there are more than a couple of sponsors and adventurers eager to see Eocsni Ironmaw in action.
Yeah, well, let it be a lesson. Even when you're a hero, the dumb shit makes for the best part of the story.
Rest up, little brother. And look at it this way. By the time your jaw is healed, you might have actually grown a hair or two under those bandages.
As his friends and family leave the room, Bruno settles back down at Eocsni's feet and curls up to rest his own wounds. Eocsni, for his part, sinks back into his pillows. It hurts to do so, but he cannot help but smile under his bandages. He'd done it. He'd kept the kids safe, and now Vroska and Gurgen would get to experience what it was like to be Ironmaw's sibling. And if all of that meant he was sore and silenced for a few months, so be it. Eocsni Ironmaw would rise again, so long as there were innocents to preserve and foes to fell, again and again and again.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Links to all of our characters' character sheets, our other character breakdowns, and all of our backstories can be found in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you keep up to date as we release more and more characters and new content for you. And if you'd like to support us even further, a link to our Patreon can also be found in the description.